Hi everyone, this is Odd. Let's continue our game of Raji and an Ancient Epic on Nintendo Switch.
That is a demon battle totem, a foul thing, which summons a multitude of creatures. Raji must beware.
Well, it's so hard to deal with multiple enemies in this game. And that's all you do is deal with multiple enemies.
The gods are with me.
Oh wait, did I come from there? Yeah, I must have.
You shall not stop me.
Oh boy, I'm jumping towards that thing.
we will not be separated. He stays with me. We will face together whatever is to come.
You know, maybe a lot of time has passed and he's like an old man now. I mean, we were out for a long time, an undetermined amount of time, at least, at minimum.
You spoke of Lord Shiva acting. This is his shrine. It is no coincidence that Raji finds herself here.
Time will tell.
Oh, what? I didn't hit any buttons. Oh, okay, well. They're in the same place anyway. Oh, I'm stuck on something. God. Oh, so much dodging. It's like my only movement option. Dodge, 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 attack, dodge, 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 attack. I mean, there's so many things attacking. I don't know why she has to make a running jump when she does her you know, heavy bow attack. Like if anything, you want to stand completely still if you want to do a heavy bow attack. But yeah, she always does it like a dashing leap to do it. It just gets her into trouble when she does it. Ugh, boy, this combat is not fun. Your shield doesn't, it doesn't block it the whole time, right? I can't just like hold my shield button. Eventually the shield gets knocked away and it's like dealing with 3 enemies zooming all around all at different times and uncoordinated attacks. It's like, it's too much for the fighting engine to keep up with. But you spend a majority of your time fighting in this game. I mean, there's a lot of fighting in this game. Unfortunately, I feel that it's the thing that's the least polished is the fighting. I mean, these dodge animations, too long. Way too long. Not enough invincibility frames. You can't interrupt them, right? So if you could interrupt these dodge frames, that'd be better. I think the and I think the hitboxes are just a little too big on your opponents. Because there are times when I'm getting hit by these little gremlin guys here. And they don't seem like they're close enough to hit me, but they're still registered as a hit. But your player character, it has to be pretty close. With a sword and shield, you have to kind of be right on top of them in order for it to register a hit. I think too that the fighting, for the fighting at least, the camera should zoom in just a little bit more. But maybe that'll alleviate the issues I have with the hit detection if I just see a little bit more clearly where things are making connections. Staying at this camera angle, I think it makes it a little tough in a game where you have to deal with so many enemies at the same time. And maybe, quite frankly, just having less enemies to fight. Yeah, see, every time I attack, I'm so locked into an animation, I can't dodge out of it. I think the other thing I would do is I would allow the dodge, number 1, to be shorter, and number 2, to interrupt attack animations. So if I'm in the middle of attacking, as soon as I hit dodge, then the attack animation is broken. They allow it for like the the final strikes, those can interrupt any animation, but nothing else, you know. So I said it's just a little bit too frustrating to try to line all this stuff up. Look how much health these guys have. I mean, I'm really having to fight a lot. See, I mean, when do I have time to block? Look at this. I mean, that's just not cool. It's not a fun fight. You know, these problems have just been kind of building up and building up, but now you're at the point where you're having to do multiple fights in a row with multiple enemies in a row and one life bar. Now all of the little problems that wasn't a big deal if it was just one or two fights. Now it's all coming together, and now it's a huge issue when you're dealing with multiple enemies. It's a shame too because like clearly everything else has been done really well. The graphics are really good. The sound's really good. The animations, you know, are good too. The overall presentation, the stories are good. But man, this combat is not that good. And I think it's something that can be fixed. You know, I don't think it's impossible for this game not to have a couple improvements made to it, so that it becomes a more playable experience, a more fun playable experience. But as it is, I think most players will feel frustrated over it. I mean, I'm a pretty patient gamer. You know, I'm willing to put up with a lot of things. But then just not having the ability to attack. You know, I mean, it's like the bread and butter of the game is the combat. So you really got to get that combat just right. You got to get it to feel really good. You got to give the player enough control over the character and the weapons. See, I mean, look, I couldn't do anything about that. As soon as I rolled out, that character could attack me. I couldn't dodge out of it. And then if I spend all my time dodging, like I'm doing here, I have no time to attack. I think the dodge animation should be something relatively simple too. I mean, she's doing a lot of cool looking flips and twirls, but really it just needs to be like a simple sidestep. Just, you know, shrink the animation. That way she's not flipping all around. If you shrink the animation, then you're also shrinking the window of when attacks can land, and that just improves the combat. See, the problem is that I'm being attacked so much that I have no time to actually execute an attack. I'm too busy defending. As soon as I let go of my defense, another character attacks. So now I'm running all around trying to find some space so I can at least let off an attack, all the while being interrupted by another attack from another character. As I said, it's not. It's okay to have multiple characters and multiple attacks, and big group fighting. It's okay to have all that, but got to give me a better way to manage these fights. And I don't feel it's there. I think as soon as the engine starts getting taxed, then the responsiveness starts dropping to the floor, and then now you're just caught doing a bunch of animations on enemies that don't have as many animation frames as you do. I mean, you have a ton of animation frames that you have to work through before you can do another action. And the enemy just has some very, very small animation frames. You know, that puts them at a huge advantage. and it's not something that's you can easily outmaneuver. Like I said, these fights, they feel more button mashy and frustrating than they do exciting. And I can see where the developer was coming from. You know, getting all that nice smooth animation. But even something as simple as this, where she's just like, you're doing a quick turn, she does that little animation to, whoop, like that. I mean, that costs you your life if you just need to turn around and do something. Because that's not an invincible animation, and you're stuck in that animation. But you can get hit twice in a group fight just because you want to move your character. Like I said, it's there to make the animation look more lifelike, but it's also interfering with the game. And if it's the choice of animation and responsive gameplay, you know, always choose responsive gameplay. You know, never let the animation get in the way. And you know, you don't need like a full, like a full motion in your animation. You don't need a full cycle in order for the player to be convinced that an animation is happening or that it's lifelike. You need surprisingly few frames in an animation for a player's brain to register that as smooth. I think that's the thing that a lot of animators don't fully understand. And you know, when you're designing your gameplay around the animation, you know, you either got to slow down your fighting engine and give time for your animation cycles to run, and then make sure your enemies also have large animation cycles so that you can, you know, play the rock paper scissors game. In which case, you know, you have a lot of animation that you're stuck in, and the enemy does not. So you've really got to find that balance between, okay, I want to look at a cool animation, but at the same time, I also want to be able to perform another action quickly so that the player feels more connected to the character. Because when I was fighting there, I mean, I was just mashing a button, you know, hoping that it would respond. And that's not really where you want to be in a combat-heavy game. If this was like a puzzle-heavy game, I think that would be more allowable if I'm mainly doing puzzles and doing just a tiny bit of fighting. But we're doing a lot of fighting in this game. And if that's the main bread and butter, if that's the main thing driving the game is the combat, then it's got to be tighter.
Lord Shiva, Mahadev, was it you who summoned me to this place? How may I stop this war and save my brother? Mahadev, I will find my way.
Okay, what was I using a lot of? I was using a lot of the sword. Frozen instantly, attacking enemies constantly to freeze them. Multiple deadly icicles strike your enemies. And I think I'm so far away from the fight that I can't really see like the right time to hold my shield down, you know? I think I'm just a little far away. And I think that's an easy solution, to kind of zoom in a little bit more during a fight. Like I said, I feel that these problems are things that can be fixed, fixed through some successive patching. Not impossible to overcome. And there have been plenty of games that have managed to kind of, tighten up the gameplay and the animation. I don't know what kind of resources this team has, and if they have the budget to do that kind of work. But I'd like to see it. I think there's a really, really good game in here. I think a lot of thought went into it. But the execution for the fighting, and just the fighting, right? Not anything else. I think everything else is really fine. But just the fighting, it just needs more polish.
The other child, her brother, he has spent much time with Mahabalasura. I cannot see his plan for the boy.
He is a twisted creature. He will use gold to defeat Raji. To use her love against her. She must be careful.
I feel those upgrade screens are really confusing. I don't know why it has to work the way it does. So left and right trigger move you from the top and bottom. But they also, you see you can pick your weapon here, but you're not picking your weapon. Hitting just left and right doesn't select your weapon. You actually have to hit the arrow that goes left or the arrow that goes right and then hit your button. That's a weird decision, especially if I'm having to switch left and right here. Why not just allow my D-pad to do the switching at this point in time? And again, this is it's like simple stuff that I think could be easily worked in. Because I'd like to see this game be more successful, but to kind of get there, it really has to, like I said, the combat just really has to be polished up more. Ugh, boy, allowing the enemies to heal I don't think is a good decision either. It just makes the fights, which are already kind of troublesome as they are, last longer. So yeah, I've really got to think about where I am on the UI. I was like, where is my cursor? Okay, when can I move? Do I have to hit the button to confirm or not to confirm? Did I not go someplace?
Two born of the shadow of the sun will decide the fate of many a man. Baba, what do our ancestors' words mean?
Sam, look at all this great art. All this, really, well done storytelling. Good job on the voice acting.
It is the birth of Biplad, an aspect of Lord Shiva. When Biplad was just a young boy, his father Dadichi gave his own bones in sacrifice to the Devas to defeat the Asuras. Biplad asked the Devas why his family should suffer such bad fortune, and they told him it was simply due to the alignment of the planets. Biplad was furious at this fate and cursed Shani of the ringed planet, whose celestial home started to fall from the sky. The Devas interceded, pleading for mercy on Shani, for Biplad to lift the curse. Biplad agreed, on the condition that Shani's position would no longer bring trouble on anyone of less than 16 years old.
Good texture work and, pretty good models. Yeah, everything except for the combat is really, really good. I think it'd be fine if there wasn't as much combat, but it's a combat-heavy game.
This is the marriage of Shiva to Sati, which angered Sati's father Daksha greatly. Daksha snubbed the girl and insulted Shiva in public. Sati was unable to bear it and threw herself into the sacrificial fire. Shiva fell into a great rage and pulled a lock of hair from his brow, lashing the ground with it. And there sprang up Veerabhadra, fierce warrior of Shiva, who destroyed Daksha and extinguished his fire. Even I could not stop him. The birth of Ashwatthama, gifted to his father Drona after many years of penance, born with a magical gem in his forehead that made him a mighty warrior. After Drona was killed through trickery, Ashwatthama issued a challenge to Arjuna. Both warriors used mantras to create mighty, world-destroying weapons. Arjuna was wise and withheld his weapon, but Ashwatthama did not, instead directing it at Uttara, Arjuna's daughter-in-law. utterly destroying the lineage of the Pandavas. For that action, Krishna cursed Ashwatthama and cut the gem from his forehead. For thousands of years, he roamed the forests of the world with blood and pus oozing from his injury. It is rumored he walks there still.
Ooh, more story.
There was a time when I was to take from upon the earth as Rama. Lord Shiva was greatly pleased and wished to travel with my avatar in my journey to aid me. But Parvati begged him to stay with her. There was a devoted king, Kesari, of the monkey people, who prayed to Shiva for a child. And so, as a means to assist me, and as boon to Kesari, Shiva was born as Kesari's son and became Hanuman, who was helper to my Rama.
The mystic homes, they burn. Golu, you are surely too clever to have been hurt. You must be safe. I pray that you're safe.
Oh boy, I see some combat coming.
This will be difficult for her to see, I think. War is not pretty.
It is destruction and death, and bone and blood. It will not be pleasant, yet she must learn the extent of her enemy's malice.
I don't know. I don't know what these things do. I mean, besides upgrade. Wait, where was I? What happened there? Oh, the interface is not good. Anything in there? No? Oh, come on.
No! These poor people! Why could I not come sooner? I could have saved them. What monstrous person did this?
Alright, why don't we stop it there? This is audap. You've been watching Raji and Ancient Epic on Nintendo Switch. Like I said, there's so much good in here that it's almost a shame that there's a couple sore spots in it. But again, I feel that these things can be patched and the game can be further improved, and I really hope that's done so that the quality is higher and that more people can enjoy it. I still suggest that people pick it up because it is still a very beautiful, well-done title, but you may just not like the combat, so bear that in mind. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.